It means something theoretical, but it may not mean anything to the person in front of you. That's the challenge with,
That's what I'm
like,
saying.
to me, one of the things that you and your team and your systems have figured out better than anybody is all of it has to be individual.
Hmm.
It has to be. Even when you look, that's why movement screening
Mm.
doesn't predict shit.
Hmm.
But it doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. It just means that if you take it on a population level, a 30,000 foot level, it doesn't really tell us much. But if you drill down to one person in front of you, watching them do a step over lunge or whatever can give you some useful information.
Hmm.
As in the context of everything else, I think that's what people miss. Everyone's looking for, we talked about this the other day, like everyone's looking for the algorithm that goes from A to B to C to the answer, but there's context at every step there. And I think that's what people miss when they're looking for simplicity and those things. Like doing what you do at the end of the day is a personal thing that you have to develop over time based on solid concepts, but you have to apply everything individually. And that's it steps back to one of the fundamental weaknesses of research these days is humans are not homogenous.
Hmm.
And you mentioned drug trials. Like I admit, and I've written about before, how manual therapy trials are at a disadvantage to drug trials. But what I haven't talked about, and what I think is also relevant and salient, is that drug trials aren't perfect either. You can standardize a dose of a drug,
Hmm.
but do they ever do a dose based on size? You and I are different sizes, right? Like,
Have you read Scale by Jeffrey West?
no.
Okay, it's physicist. You're gonna
Okay.
love this book because it's exactly it's exactly what he talks about with regards to scaling things. You can't. It's very difficult to scale things up and scale things down because it breaks apart at some point.
Sure, but imagine the drug trial that did a dose based on body weight or some other physiological measure or metric that they came up with. They would they would be laughed at scientifically, but to me that makes more sense. I probably need more Advil to have an effect than my wife does. Yes?
You need
Just
more
because
shots.
I'm like double the size of her.
You
So
need more shots to have a good time. It's just physiology.
yeah, like,
You know what I mean?
but to this idea that drug research should be our gold standard, I'm not sure that works either because they never do that. I've only seen a couple of drug trials ever that have standardized a dose based on body weight. To me, that makes the most sense.
That's pretty scary, actually.
I mean, even body weight's not perfect because the physiology might be different anyway, their metabolism or whatever.
Hmm.
But to do a 50 milligram dose and give it to a 300-pound guy and then a 120-pound woman and call that the same thing doesn't make any sense to me. It never
Clearly,
has. Yeah,
clearly,
but
clearly.
that's the standard of science.
Yeah,
And
there's more stuff. There's more stuff dealing with the stuff you're giving them.
yeah,
Either
so
there's more
much.
stuff or there's less stuff,
I
right?
know. We've just boiled it all down to stuff.
It's all boiled.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you later.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There's spaces, and then there's stuff on the spaces. Use
Yeah.
stuff to maintain the spaces. Thank you. Good night.